Okay, so now we got this in the light where we can actually see it. The side skirts on my car are actually 3 different pieces. This is just the last little section from the door back to the wheel. As you can see, it's a very easy, simple piece here. I'm just going to go through and cut out a piece. Before I break the 90, I'm going to roll a step in it over here because the pieces do overlap where it bolts. And then bend the little tab on the back just to kind of clean up that edge there. So, first thing I'm going to do is lay this guy out on a piece of poster board, or yeah, that's probably what I'm going to use to go on ahead and get a template of this guy so I can copy it and make a fresh one. And then once I make the fresh one, I'll have to go back out to the car, but roughly about here I'm going to cut out a section for the exhaust to exit out the side, but I'm going to build a box off the back side of this that will extend in underneath the car that the exhaust will line up with and partially come into to help direct the gases out from underneath the car, but it'll be in about here. So that way when I take this off, that section will come with it and it will leave the little footing piece for the to being able to pick it up with the 2-post lift exposed and the exhaust isn't in the way, and just makes life a lot easier when you got to pick the car up. So yeah, next step. Alright, so now we've got some poster board all set up so I can start tracing this thing out. And I know some people are going to ask, well, if this piece is already made, why not just cut it up and build the box off of this and just go with it? And my main reason for not doing that is, well, I never really stick with one thing for too long, and I may go back on it and not like the side exit exhaust and want to just run a normal exhaust out the back. So I don't want to destroy this one. I want to keep this and set it aside just in case if I decide I want to run it a different way and I'm not committed to it. So I'm going to make another one that'll also be raw aluminum because with the exhaust temps, it's going to get hot. So I'd rather it just be natural aluminum. I don't have to worry about any coatings. This one's actually powder coated, and I don't have the means to powder coat it again. So again, I just don't want to mess this one up. So we're just going to build another one, make the side exit, go from there. So, first things first, my bolt holes. I have butted this guy up against the top of the paper here, so I have a nice clean straight line. Do a straight line down over here. And I'm going to do a little line out right here That's going to tell me where my fold line is. Same thing on the other end down here. Heck, I'll just go through and do a line all the way across, because I'll have to transfer this line over to the piece of aluminum. I'll flip that guy up. Bring this up. So there's my copy. Solid panel. That's the part that's going to get folded on a 90. But I do need to lay this back on here and mark out up here. Do a little line there because I need to run a bead on this with the bead roller. So I got a couple little marks there on either side, so I can drop shit all over the floor and now make a straight line there because I'm going to roll a bead in it. And for this end piece here, I'm just going to tape a little piece of paper on the back because that'll just give me a little flap section I can work with and still transfer it over. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm not going to bother filming it because who the hell wants to watch me cut paper? Be right back. And just like that, I've got a template made. So another little trick here. Oh yeah, totally did that with a pair of scissors. Now, hole punch. These little guys are awesome. Always something good to have in your arsenal, especially if you use like universal gasket material and need to make gaskets for stuff. That's really great for making bolt holes, obviously. But anyhow, so now I've got nice clean holes for when I transfer it to my aluminum. I can make a nice perfectly round hole that when I trace it with a Sharpie or something is going to give me like a little clean pinhole in the center, which is great for center punching, and then I can go and drill it out. So this piece over here, all I did was set my panel up on its end on a piece of paper, traced out that ear, tape it on, because all I need is template out of this. So now I've got my fold lines, I've got my bead rolling line here because I need to roll a step in the panel after I cut it out, but for now I just need to transfer this guy to a piece of aluminum, and then I can do the actual like fab work, because after I get that done I need to determine where and how big the hole is going to be in the side of this thing, and then start making the box. And we'll see how far we get with that one. I don't know if I'm going to stick around here all damn night to make it, but by God, I'm going to make something, or at least get started. So this is the part where someone would probably pull out some shears or some tin snips or some kind of at-home means of cutting this metal, or if you had a freaking awesome stomp shear, it would be great because then you can just plop that off in one big chunk and then do another one over here. All I was going to do is cut that corner and round that. But anyhow, I don't have access to a shear right now. Someone had killed the blade on the one we got here, but I do have access to pretty much an entire fab shop with cool toys like a plasma cutter. So we're going to do what I can with a plasma cutter here. Cool trick, piece of angle iron. It's great to just get you a nice clean straight line, just like using a ruler that won't melt or catch on fire. Scoop that over. That's another thing too, is you want to go and space this guy off your line, because you got to account for the thickness of the tip, just the tip. I think that'll work. Yeah, let's do it. There. Wow, that is cutting terribly. What's going on here? Is that a bad brand or what? That may have just ruined the whole part. Hooray. Reposition it around, put it directly on this instead of the table. See if we can continue, still salvage this. Ugh. It looks terrible, but I still think we might be able to clean it up and save it. Because, well, I definitely don't want to waste this material because aluminum is like gold around here. Aside from 1/4-inch steel plate. That's pretty valuable too. We use that for a lot of brackets. What is on here that is burning off? Alright, I'll cut that one off individually. On to other means of cutting. Alright, so I got lucky and just barely left myself enough slack that I can come back with a grinder and fix this. So I didn't waste this piece of aluminum. But anyhow, I'm going to go grab the grinder, grind that down nice and straight and flat. Same thing for that little corner. And then we'll go over to the bead roller and roll that step over there. Drill 2 holes in it. Get over here with the brake. Bend that guy up, bend that guy down. And then that piece is made. So I'll be back in a second. So quick trick for grinding something flat. Because obviously with an angle grinder, it's hard to not make it all wavy. So good thick steel table or something steel and straight. Like you can probably go through and clamp a piece of angle iron or something to it. But anyhow, give me something as a guide to grind this guy straight with is a harder material, i.e. this steel fab table. So if I can create and go through and knock that edge off real quick and make it straight. Alright, another really good tip for after you get this all flat and ground down. DA sanders. They're freaking awesome. For cleaning up, getting the deburring it, keeping it flat. You'd be amazed how much I use a DA sander with fab work. Another great place for this is if you're doing sheet metal work. If you go through and put like a rough sand to something, you can come back with a DA sander and it'll act like a guide coat because it'll smooth off the grinding marks and act like it'll show you all your high and low spots. So that's really great for when you're doing sheet metal stuff, but we'll get into that with another project. For now, it's making this side skirt piece. So, on to the next thing. Okay, so got all my lines transferred over from my template. Holes that still need to be drilled, but right now I'm going to roll a step in this guy because those panels need to overlap. So I want this to have a little step in so that the outer edge will be flush when they overlap and bolt together. So make sure this guy is spinning the correct direction for what I want to do. Which it is. Fantastic. Stick that guy in. Let's get a little bit more than that. Crank this back down. Push it a bit. Give it more of an aggressive step. This may take a couple passes to get it around now. That'll work. I'm going to have to flatten it out a little bit, but it's got the little step to it. That's all I needed. So that'll work. On to the next step. Alright, so I almost got ahead of myself and went and bent the 90s on these two ends. And then I started thinking about it, like, you know what, cutting that slot for the exhaust is going to be really hard to get a clean cut on the bottom after I fold this guy up into a 90. So went on ahead, went out there, saw where I was going to run this and how far down below the pinch weld of the body I needed to be to actually go through and run a good size exhaust port out the side. And I'm going to cut this guy out while this piece is still flat, because it just makes it way easier to cut that rectangle out while it's flat versus if I have a 90 right here, I now have to try and cut inside that corner cleanly and not screw any of this up. So because I'm having such issues with the plasma cutter cutting this nice and clean, I don't know if there's something on this aluminum or if I got a loose ground or what. I'll mess with that later. I'm going to go on ahead and drill 4 holes, one in each corner with the drill bit, so I get a nice round corners, and then I'll come back through the cutoff disc and just cut my straight lines. And yeah, then I'll come back with a DA sander and make it all nice and smooth and uniform looking, and then put my 2 bends. And then I got to consider how I'm going to make the box section that the tubing is going to come into. But who knows, I may just get that part and get this all folded up and then call it a night, and then tomorrow night make the box section, because I still don't have access to a lift at the moment to pick the car up and make the exhaust made up to it. But yeah, I'm going to knock that out real quick and I'll catch back up with you. Okay, I'm sure somebody else saw this that's already berating me in the comment section, already knew what was going on with the plasma cutter. Anyhow, this is what the tip inside of that bad boy should look like. This is a brand new one. And this is what I took out of there. That's why it wasn't cutting worth a damn. So anyhow, that's fixed and we're back to using the plasma cutter. Things are getting going a little bit faster now. Okay, so now that we had the plasma cutter up and running, that made it way faster. I still went on ahead and drilled my 4 holes so I had rounded corners, and then just plasma cut in between, came back through with this little guy, which is freaking awesome from Milwaukee. No, I'm not sponsored. I wish I was, because these things are not cheap, but that little belt sander is awesome. I use this thing all the time. Anyhow, so knocked out my bolt holes as well. Now I'm ready to go over to the brake and do my 90 and my other 90, and then I'm ready to start making the box section that the exhaust is actually going to come into and make this a cool thing that's going to spit black stuff all over the side of my car and potentially the rear wheel. Anyhow, let's go bend some metal, huh? Okay, on to the next part. So I'm going to break the long side, and I was thinking about breaking this guy, but I'm probably going to have to do this small end in the vise, which would be easy because it's such a short piece to bend. It's not a big deal. I don't need the big brake for it. So I'm going to line this guy up. I don't like pulling up on this bar when I'm bending. I have more control pushing down on it. It being aluminum, once you bend it, that's it. You don't get a second bend. It just breaks. And I'm sure there's plenty of, oh yeah, you can heat it up and anneal it and bend it, and yeah, it works to an extent, but for what I'm doing here, it won't work. It'll ruin it. On that, and there we go. looking fancy. I'm going to take it over to the vise, clamp it in there, bend it down. I'll get a body hammer to kind of tap it so I can get it nice and clean. And I don't know, I might call it a night. I'm not 100% if I want to start tackling making the actual exhaust port section of this tonight or not. Let's see what time it is. Anyhow, I'm going to go do that real quick. Be right back. Alright, so it's getting to be a little after 10 o'clock here. I've been here since about 8 o'clock this morning. It's been kind of a long day, and I need to put this on the car and like get a mock-up of it so I can go through and start building the back section that the exhaust is going to feed into. So I'm going to call it a night right there and go home and edit this and try not to stay up all frickin' night. And then tomorrow I'm going to try to film some more and maybe get this part done so it can actually go on the car. And maybe this weekend I'll be able to get the thing up on the lift and show you guys the process of making the exhaust and actually running it out the side of the car. But anyhow, that's what we got for now. Not too bad for a couple hours. Pretty simple. Came out nice. The DA sander is just freaking phenomenal for putting a nice clean finish on the aluminum. Now it's nice uniformed. I can brush it, I can polish it, and do whatever I want with it, but I'm probably just going to leave it this texture like this when it's all said and done, because it's easy to clean, and once it starts getting stained from exhaust and stuff, I can just come back with a DA and hit it again and make it look all fresh and new again real easily. So, stay tuned for part 2. Catch you on the next one.